everyone, welcome to Downtown Tailoring. In today's video, we are gonna take advantage of the pressing to get the best result in our sewing and alterations. So let's go! Here you go, some pressing tools that I have. And of course, you don't need to get them all. You just need to know which one do the best for the job you usually do, because obviously it's important to have the equipment available that is the best for you to place your fabric in the most practical position for the area that you need to press. For example, a pointed arm extension is ideal when you want to press either straight seams or collar points or any points that you need to press. Remember that always will be very important if you use a piece of scrap of material to test it with your iron and the ways that it needs to be pressed. Another great tool that I always use is the clapper, because it's made of wood. It absorbs the steam, and if you put it on top of material that is difficult to crease, it will yield great results. Remember that every material will have different pressing instructions, so it will be very good if you try to check how can you press any different material. When you iron, even if you are iron a bias material, it's very good that you try to go to the grain of the material. For example, in that piece that is bias, even if I try to go to the bias, it's not really the best result. And something very important is that I use an ironing shoes, which make my iron very safe together with the steam. And this is why I use it. But when you are working with a regular domestic iron, even if the iron is very good like this one, sometimes will be better to use a cloth and put the cloth on top. Press the seams before they are crossed with other seams. That way you have your seams better and nicer. When you are going to press a straight seam, before you are going to press it close, and then if that seams needed to be open by one side or the other, it doesn't matter. You press it the way you need to be. In this case, for example, I'm pressing it open, and this is another case that is so good to use the clapper, because the wood of the clapper absorbs the steam and it produces a very nice and flat results. So in that case that we have those seams that need to be crossed over, you press each seam separately first, and then you go to your sewing machine and then press everything together. I have always a little trick, because I use like a pin that goes in between the seams. But today we are not talking about the sewing, but I have to say it. And after you have your final seam, then you go back to your press and then you press it everything all nice, and that is what produced the best results. For curved seams, you pretty much are going to do the same. You are going to press your seam close first to settle the seam, and then you are going to press it open. But instead of using a flat surface, you need some kind of rounded surface. The ham is very good for that thing. Like I've used my ham all the time. And you try to find where the curve of your curve and the curve of the ham coincide, and then you just go ahead and do it. Lately, I got those cute mushrooms, and they are great because they give me a little bit more stability than the ham. I have two kinds, one smaller and one bigger, because both of them have different kind of curve. But both of them, it doesn't matter, they are both good to do those kind of curve. And then when you have it, here you go, you see, it looks really nice and flat, and you couldn't believe that this is like a bust. I like to use the mushrooms as well for the armholes when I'm sewing, because you can really get very nice curves and it will be so easy and fast. Remember that always the sleeve, you have to ease them, and you see how good it looks? This is just great. For the sleeve, as I said before, when you have a sleeve, you have to ease the cap, and this is very, very important when you are sewing a sleeve on an armhole. Basically, what you do, you have to do one stitch and pull it a little bit, and for that I use my sleeve board, and I love to use like at the corner of the sleeve board, and then I kind of steam because I want to kind of shrink the material that will be just sewn to the armhole, and the other leave it like that, so the sleeve will take like the shape of the arm. And even if you see that they look a little bit, I always wash them very frequently. The sleeve board as well is very good to press gathering, because when you press the gathering, you have to press everything nice and flat. You cannot go to the extreme, so you kind of have to put the material in a way that you can press it. You cannot just put your iron on top of those pleats. It will look really ugly. Instead, you go from the bottom to the top, and you will get a way nicer results. Look at that. It's cute, right? For pressing pleats, there are a few things that you can do for getting the best results. First of all, the best is to iron each pleat inside, separate each one. Remember that always ironing the wrong side of the material is great. And then when you accommodate them over the table, make sure that the bottom part of, let's say, your skirt, the pleats are a little bit wider than at the top. That make it look a little nicer. And then if you want to press on top, then you will have to use like some sort of protection. Like this paper, you put it on top, and that will prevent the marks to be reflected on the top. In the motherboard, people tend to press those pleats really strong, but let me show you how I learned in my fashion school. You are supposed to press it a little bit, but then you are going to kind of undo everything, and then you are going at the bottom like a pretty much show the iron on top, because you don't want those pleats to be really, really sharp. I don't know, people like them sharp, but you do what you like. When I do hems with the alterations, I have the tendency to try first the material to see if I can do it. And for pressing, you have to go inside and press kind of vertical. Like you go to the sides, but you go vertical. And then when you finish, you can go at the top a little bit, but don't really press, just present the iron on top. There are some materials that I really do not even dare of ironing, like this one I wouldn't even touch with the iron. So in that case, I will use like a little cloth, and if you even want, you can wet your clothes before ironing it, and probably you are gonna get better results, avoiding the shiny effect. Another great tool that you can use is a hot ironing ruler. This is like a ruler, let's say, and it has different shapes. The most used for me is the straight one. So if you want to do a hem, you just have to, mark where you want your hem, and then you just press it, and it's fantastic to do the hem. These sticks as well are great for me. For example, let me show you how I use it all the time. Let's say that I want to do a strap for a dress. I sew my strap in a normal way that you will do it. And then I, of course, press it first down, and don't press the other corner, of course, just press the seam. And remember, I'm working now with a bias, which make the job a little bit tricky sometimes, but we can manage. And then I'm gonna use a stick. And most of the time I use the plastic one because that fits in everything. But whenever I can, I use those sticks. If I had more diameters would be great, but I don't have too many of them. I put my stick inside of the strap and then I make sure to iron open the seam allowance. Now I'm gonna turn it, and I always have a lot of tricks for turning because I do not love turning, but this one was easy. And look at the result. You see, it looks really great. You can use it flat with the seam inside, or you can use it normal like with the seam in one of the side. It doesn't matter. It produces a great result. Let me show you another way that I use those sticks. I measure the size of the stick and then I sew it in my sewing machine. It doesn't matter that I have a big seam allowance. That really doesn't matter. It's even sometimes easier to press it. And then I'm gonna use like a little iron. I'm using the small one because I just don't want to stand up. But it doesn't matter. You just iron open and then you turn it the same way we did. And now I'm gonna insert my stick and then I'm gonna iron. And when you are using those sticks, don't use too much the steam because the plastic doesn't absorb as well the steam. But look at that, it gives like the shape so nice. It looks really good. And now you can use it to put decorative bones or anything you want. And I don't want to make videos too long, but I haven't even touched on a lot of things that needs to be taken into account when you are pressing. But let me show you more or less all the instruments that I have. I have my irons. I have different irons depending on what I want to do. I have a wool pad, and usually what I do is I cover the pad with a cotton. That way it doesn't get too dirty, and I put it over the table over ceramic. I have my sleeve board, and I have an ironing board which is a little bit bigger that I use mostly for iron the fabric that I'm going to cut for patterns. I put it in a corner because this board I can put over the table, and when I'm not using, I put it on a corner. The ham is one of the things more important that you really need, but as I told you, I like the mushroom too, and the seam roll that allows you to press curves and as well sew sleeves and other seams that are really hard to get. The clapper that is so good when you really need it, and all my stick things that I have, wood always is good. But as well, I have my plastic sticks that works really well. And of course, an ironing cloth is so important to protect the fabric. And last but not least, the ironing ruler hem. Well guys, I hope that you like this video, and make sure to come back tomorrow to my channel because I have a very important announcement to make. If you like this video, please give us a like and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment. Bye!